同船するのは100年の徳。枕を共にするのは1000年の縁。
Hallway. The sounds of singing and dancing fill the air as incense burns. The Light of Ye's most important sacrificial ceremony of the year has come to an end. And as the individual responsible for offering the sacrifice, it is officially time for you to begin praying. Over the next 3 days, you will pray non-stop for the Land of Yi to receive blessings. The moment you step into the prayer hall, a familiar figure suddenly appears, disrupting the once calm order.
司祭。
The servants hastily kneel down to bow. After all, after the emperor himself, your visitor is the most respected individual in the Land of Yi, the imperial preceptor Vyn. Seeing as the current emperor is so young, almost all matters in the Land of Yi are being handled by the imperial preceptor. He has independently handled countless tumultuous situations. Calling him a stabilizing force in the Land of Yi would be an understatement. Met with his graceful demeanor, you quickly lower your gaze to hide your stirring heart. You then take a step back and curtsy in greeting. Imperial Preceptor. The prayer ceremony is about to begin. May I ask if you have something important to discuss? You and Vyn have already known each other for several years. Working together for the kingdom has already pushed your relationship past that of ordinary colleagues, so you rarely adhere to strict social norms when interacting. However, since you became the palace's priestess, Vyn has always looked after you and educated you in magic, drawing quite a bit of unnecessary criticism. The recent situation within the Line of Yi is unstable. Considering both of your unique positions, you should avoid breaking the rules for some love affair. Cutting off your relationship before it began had been the best choice for both of you.
そんなかしこまる必要はないよ。僕はただ祈祷殿の方に手抜かりがないか確認しに来ただけだから。それと最近はここも冷えてきたから、そろそろ防寒の術をかけようと思っているんだけど、いろいろと制約があってね。
You spot a faint hint of mockery in his eyes as he mentions the rules. Even though you have never seen Vyn's full strength on display, you know he is a cultivator with an extremely high magical aptitude. As for why Vyn gave up his free-spirited life and became the Imperial Preceptor and constantly surrounded himself with affairs of the kingdom, it is all just as mysterious as his half-covered face. No one knows the real reason. It's alright. Perhaps this is a test given to me by the Celestials. This change in weather isn't unusual, seeing as there are signs of disaster in various regions of the Land of Yi. That is what makes today's sacrifice particularly important. If I couldn't handle even the slightest bit of cold, how could I ever pray you for the Land of Yi? Vyn lets out a soft sigh, steps forward, and ties the ribbon around your cloak for you. After making sure there is nowhere for the cold wind to get in, he places a small heater in your hand.
世にある繁華も災禍も、すべては最初から決まっていることだよ。一人の力で変えられるものではないし、誰か一人が背負うようなことでもない。
There seems to be a deeper meaning behind his words, but you don't know how to respond. Yes, but this is still against the rules.
人間が決めたしきたりを千人が気にするとでも？
Legend has it that the Land of Yi was able to calm chaos, defeat demons, and establish a veritable paradise with the help of a single celestial. And the celestial known as the land of Ye's guardian god, lives far away in the clouds on a divine island called Yunchen. Even if the celestial doesn't care, we should still show respect.
崇める心
Vyn sighs imperceptibly, reaching up to caress the pin in your hair.
仙人がどうしてこのかんざしを作ったのか、あなたは知っているかい
The hairpin Vyn is referring to is the kingdom's most vital sacrificial tool. According to the legends, the Celestial gifted it to the kingdom as a keepsake. Through tonight's prayers, you will utilize magical instruments to tell the Celestial about different events that have taken place in the land of Yi this year. We will also pray for the Celestial to maintain peace in the coming year. This hairpin is a magical instrument that the Celestial gave the first priestess. It was used to assist in defeating demons. But giving someone a hairpin symbolizes becoming a couple. You can't vocalize this thought about the Celestial and the first priestess, so you give Vyn the textbook answer instead. Where mortals cannot speculate on the true meaning behind the Celestial's gift.
樹木、鳥、人、そして仙人。彼らは異なる種族として定義され、それゆえに寄り添うことも理解し合うことも難しくなっている。本来であれば、被る災難も得られる感情もさほど差がないというのに。
Is Vyn talking about the meaning behind the hairpin or something else? Some hazy images flicker into your mind like a mirage of a dream. They are simultaneously real and ethereal. You try your best to catch hold of them, but you can't see them clearly.
司祭様、そろそろ。
The servant's words interrupt your train of thought, and you quickly bow in greeting. I humbly accept your gift, Imperial Preceptor. The sacrificial ceremony is about to begin. Please head to the neighboring hall to rest. I apologize, I can't be more hospitable.
気にしなくていいよ。
After Vyn leaves, you realize your cheeks are nearly as hot as the heater in your hands. The tassel hanging from your hairpin sways as if it is laughing at your concealed worries. I have work to do. I shouldn't let my imagination run wild. You calm the surging waves in your heart, turning around to enter the prayer hall. Empress Dowager's Palace. A few days later, the sacrificial ceremony draws to a close. The Empress Dowager summons you and Vyn to discuss something important. Although you know it is important, meeting in the Empress Dowager's palace leaves you feeling somewhat uneasy.
広国ではこのところ災いの兆しがあり、南部の干ばつが続けば今年の不作は避けられないだろう。国司が先を見越して3年分の食料を蓄えていることは知っているが、広国は所詮小国であり、1年を通して穏やかな気候が続かない限り、民は安心して生活を送れない。もしこのような天災が今後何年も続くようなら。
The woman on the couch sighs softly, and you notice quite a few gray strands mixed in with the black hair on her temples. Although Vyn has been assisting the young emperor with political matters, circumstances between the ruling and opposition parties are complicated. As Empress Dowager, it is natural for her to worry. And although everyone depends on Vyn, they share a common hidden concern. He is like a wandering cloud, never putting down roots, unable to be controlled by anyone.
国司はどう考える？広国を包む憂いを払拭する術はあるか？
憂いをでございますか。皇太后陛下のことです。 すでに大方の目星はついておられるのではないでしょうか。
やはりそなたには隠しておけぬな。雨乞いの術、これを用いることで公国の憂いは払えるだろう。ただこの法術は国主ほどのものでなければ扱えぬものだ。
Rain summoning magic isn't complicated. I often use it when praying. Why is the Empress Dowager insisting that Vyn is the only one capable of doing so? After thinking it over for a moment, realization finally dawns upon you. Only Vyn's immense magical power can truly control the elements, causing rain to constantly pour onto the land of Yi. But spells don't just appear out of nowhere. The caster must gather spirit energy from the earth, transforming it. If Vyn really did use such an impactful rain summoning spell, it would be sure to undermine the neighboring countries' luck and send them into droughts.
皇太后陛下はこれまでに多くの習わしを作られてきました。そのようなお方がよもや天地の法則をかき乱そうとおっしゃるとは。僭越ながらこの度のご判断はいささか軽率ではないかと存じます。
何も私欲のために告げたわけではない。そなたが望まぬのであれば無理にとは言わぬ。
The Empress Dowager slowly shifts her gaze to you.
昨日の祈りは順調であったか？
Yes, Empress Dowager, everything went smoothly.
そうか。私は幼い頃より仙人の伝説を聞いて育ってきた。それからの数十年来、私は古書に記された霊石を見たことがない。だが最近、井戸の水が一夜にして干からびたり、大暑だというのに大雪が降ったりと、各地で異常現象が起きている。まだ災いにこそなっていないが、人々は十分に怯え、日常を送れなくなっている。そうして口々にこう言っておるのだ。千人の命が間もなく尽きる。もう二度と公国が守られることはない。と。ただの噂であることは分かっておる。だが、
The Empress Dowager's long finger guard taps against the table, making a sharp and impatient sound. Outside those vague legends, you have never seen the true face of the Celestial, even as priestess. How could ordinary people not have doubts? Even though you can sense the Celestial silently protecting the land of Yi, chaos within people's hearts will only lead to the strengthening of demons and the occurrence of strange anomalies. The Celestial has protected the land of Yi for centuries. Perhaps he is tired or even exhausted. Over the years, you have gradually begun to understand that your position may appear prosperous, but that there are actually hidden dangers.
隣国と親交を深め、他国の力を借りることができれば、この困難を乗り越えることも可能だろう。だが公国は数十年そういった国交を深めていない。また中立国としても多方面の利益を考えねばならない。一応古代からの慣習に倣い、婚姻をもって国交を開こうと考えてはいるがな。
She doesn't speak directly, but you know exactly what she means. You don't believe that any benefits gained from marriage will be guaranteed, but you knew you would have to face this test sooner or later when you became priestess. Before you can say anything, Vyn steps in, appearing extremely displeased.
まさか司祭を犠牲にするおつもりで。
Faced with Vyn's implicit anger, even the mighty Empress Dowager can't help softening her stance.
尊ぶべき司祭をそのようなことに巻き込むわけがないだろう。ましてや、 そなたらの仲が良いことは私も知っている。ただ、国士は外の人だ。権威や財はもちろん、そなた自身を国の属事で縛ることはできぬ。そなたがもし我が国の人間であったなら、私は仲人となって、そなたらの縁談を取り持っただろうな。
The both of you instantly come to understand her true motive. You are still a bargaining chip in her hands. However, her target is not a neighboring country, but Vyn himself. She can't control Vyn, detached from the mortal realm as he is, but she can control you, seeing as all of your relatives reside in the land of Ye. If we can't figure out how to handle these natural disasters, people are going to be displeased. If marriage can really allow us to get help from neighboring countries, I'm afraid I'll have to do it. The two sides of the scale constantly waver up and down. It seems that finding balance is impossible. But you know that even if the future is full of hardships, you can't simply allow others to control your destiny. I have already dedicated my life to being a priestess. I have no desire for worldly affections. Empress Dowager, you don't need to worry about the drops. I have a solution.
ほう？
The reason a priestess can become a priestess is due to our innate ability to transform into spirit beings. There is a secret spell that can allow us to dissolve into earthly spirit energy. When that time comes, the Imperial Preceptor can use the rain summoning spell. He will be able to end the drought in the land of Yi without affecting our neighboring countries. Things aren't going as the Empress Dowager expected, but this is still a good outcome. She nods, about to agree when Vyn interrupts her.
天才がこの先も続くとは限りません。答えを出すのは時期尚早では。
国士の言うことも一理ある。だが、初代の司祭は徳が高く、自分の命を犠牲にして妖魔の襲来を防ぎ、皇国を守り抜いたと言われている。
You had realized that your position in the palace was nothing more than a glorified chess piece a long time ago. Even so, no one had forced you to become the priestess. For the sake of your loved ones, family, and yourself, you accepted the shackles that came along with this honor. I will not avoid my responsibilities, Empress Dowager. You can't bear revealing your inner doubts to Vyn, so you simply lower your gaze, pretending to be calm. Your hairpin begins to tremble softly for some reason, as if it is letting out a silent roar of anger. In an instant, the world around you goes dark.
大変です。仙人様がお怒りに。
Black clouds instantly engulf the entire city as lightning rains down on celestial island Yunchen. Anomalies can naturally lead to disaster. The land of Yi may be facing unprecedented danger. Prayer Hall. Rumors of the disaster immediately spread inside and outside the kingdom. Since the anomaly appeared, it has been snowing in the land of Yi for days on end. Clear, sunny weather was nowhere to be seen. Dark clouds covered celestial island Yunchen, paired with ominous lightning and thunder. People start to speculate that the celestial must be bringing disasters upon the world as punishment. They begin petitioning the court in the hopes that the priestess can calm the celestial's fury. You don't believe the celestial will bring disaster to the world, but you are convinced that something odd is going on. After several ceremonies, the disaster still shows no sign of letting up. With that, you decide to use a spell you found in an ancient text to visit Yunchen and search for answers.
数百年間 誰も足を踏み入れていない場所にたった一人で行こうというのかい？
This wooden hairpin was made from the wood of the divine tree on Yunchen. It has become attuned to me over hundreds of years. I believe I will be able to successfully find my way to Yunchen.
雲来へ着いた後は？これまで会ったこともない仙人に何を言うつもりなんだい？怒りに任せて滅ぼそうとしているかもしれないし、老いて消えようとしている可能性だってあるのに。
Vyn, do you want to tell me not to go? To stay? He sighs softly but doesn't say anything else to stop you. You softly caress Vyn's mask. With his face half covered, it is impossible for you to discern what he is thinking. You know, I have so many questions, but I've never gotten any answers from you. You were the one who tried to cut off your relationship and also the one who fell in love first. When you first arrived at the palace, Vyn always took care of you. You couldn't help falling in love with him. But it felt like everything stopped at the friendship. Whenever you tried to get closer, he would keep his distance away. Even though you are still full of questions, and despite this flower bearing no result, there is no longer enough time to reveal the answers. When I go to Yunchen, I'll be ready for the worst. Emperor Preceptor, please understand my resolve as priestess.
決意ね。この世には確かに命を賭すべきことが多い。大義に責任、そして人情。あなたがそう決意することは想定内だ。もちろん、あなたの行く手を阻むことができないこともね。
You don't know how many hardships and obstacles Vyn has overcome. He has always been calm and collected as if he already knows everything concerning this world. He is like fleeting fireworks passing over the earth, unbothered by the happenings below him. And you are the one who tried to catch one of those fireworks despite knowing that you would get burned. Perhaps I'm not as selfless as I claim. My resolve comes from a small secret wish.
私欲？
Have you ever seen a bird carrying branches to build its nest? A trace of surprise flickers through his eyes. He then inexplicably lets out a soft sigh.
あるよ。何度もね。
You have? I always see you going into the forest for a breather, but I don't know you were going there to watch the birds. But you've always liked things like that.
それで、あなたの願いは巣を作るようなことだと？自分の行動が巣を作るようなことだと言いたいのかい？
My home is inextricably linked to this kingdom. If the line of Yi is destroyed, where can I go? I'll be just like a bird with no nest to call home. Besides, you raise your head to gaze at Vyn. You can't see the face under his mask clearly. Even though he has thrown himself into all the tribulations and troubles of this world, even though he has never been tainted by them, one day he will tire of it all and drift away. If this world was perfect enough, if it was better than any paradise, would he be willing to stay? You want to build a home he will miss. You may be unable to vocalize it now, but that is the small wish that you're harboring. I'll tell you after everything is settled, Vyn. Before he can respond, you recite the spell. This ancient spell, sealed away for centuries, is like a time-honored blessing being chanted into the distant sky. The hairpin on your head trembles slightly before suddenly flying off. It then traces a circle in the void. Is this a teleportation magic circle? No one has ever successfully used this spell before, but I did it on my first try. Amidst the dark, you can sense Yunchen calling to you. You can tell that the mysterious celestial also wants to meet you.
待つんだ。
Vyn rarely wears such an anxious expression. You can't help but waver, stopping in your tracks. Vyn, if you respond to him now, he is sure to shake your resolve. But this may also be my last chance. Your body moves before you have time to think. You stand on your tiptoes, wrapping your arms around Vyn's neck. I'm sorry. If this trip goes well, after I get back, I'll definitely... You bury your face in his chest, drowning out the unspeakable promise and listening as his heartbeat quickens.
戻ってくる時まで。今言いかけたことをちゃんと覚えていられるのかい？
He murmurs something you don't quite understand, hesitantly pulling you closer into his embrace. Unfortunately, all the rules and restrictions placed on you two make it impossible for you to be impudent. The light of the teleportation magic circle gradually begins to fade, urging you to make a decision. Before this intoxicating warmth can fully take hold of you, you abandon all thought, turn around and resolutely set foot into the teleportation magic circle.
知っていたかい？僕が一番聞きたくない言葉が、あなたのすみませんだってこと。何せ、その言葉を言うべきなのは、僕の方なんだから。度重なる災難の中で、僕はまだ、
Vyn's words are lost to the winds kicked up by the magic circle. When you snap back to reality, you find yourself in a strange place. The scene before you is as ethereal as fantasy. A breathtaking landscape surrounds you, and you can't tell if you are in a dream or reality. The first priestess described Yunchen as a paradise far beyond the reach of mortals in her journals. Is this Yunchen? Other than the hazy storm clouds churning in the distance, this place is brimming with spirit power. You are unable to detect danger among the lush flowers and trees. You reach back to touch your hair. At some point, the wooden hairpin had returned to you, staying by your side just like before. Even though you studied several protective spells before leaving, its presence is the only thing that can truly put you at ease. Considering how the hairpin is made from the divine tree on Yunchen, you are confident the celestial won't harm you. They probably live deep within Yunchen as you keep exploring. You push aside some branches blocking the path in front of you, slowly walking along the secluded trail. After only a few dozen steps, the narrow path suddenly broadens. You squint from the sudden sunlight that spills into your vision. It sounds like someone is calling your name, and you turn around. Smoke sneaks in all directions as petals flutter through the air. He stands there with an otherworldly demeanor, gazing at you from the distance. Nearby cranes dances, the snow-white feathers brushing against your cheek as they drift through the air. The gentle breeze then carries them past his face. Vyn, what are you doing here?
あなたは、
His expression is void of emotion, like a detached divine being. There is an emptiness in his eyes. But when he looks at you, this emptiness gradually melts away like snow under warm sunlight. Even so, a hint of sadness flashes past his eyes.
雲来へ戻ってきても、まだ、あなたは過去を忘れたままなのかい？
The past? I don't know what you're talking about.
こんな手を使ってまで、あなたに辛い記憶を戻すべきではないのだろうけど。 でも、すべてのしがらみを破るには、いずれ決断を下さなくてはならない。そうすることでしか、あなたが新たな道を見つけることは難しいだろうし、またそうすることで、僕もすべてにケリをつけることができる。
He smiled softly in resignation, taking off the mask covering his right eye. The mist surges around you. The cranes simultaneously call out. A surging wave of spirit power flows out, causing imperceptible ripples to reverberate through your consciousness.
霊力を受け入れて、お腹、丹田で自分の力に変換するんだ。
Vyn's gentle voice echoes in your ears, guiding you each step of the way to calm the chaos in your body. As you gradually take control of this spirit power, countless unfamiliar images and sounds flood your mind. In some, you are a bird soaring through the sky, looking down at the celestial island through the clouds. In others, you are a bewildered healer seeking antidotes from the celestial for mortals suffering from a disease. And in this boundless unknown, you catch hold of that familiar pure white entity, someone who overlaps with the person in front of you. He looks at you, his gaze seemingly traveling through the ages.
あなたが最後に雲来を訪れてから、もう300年が過ぎた。当時のあなたは戦を終わらせ、すべての民が安らかに過ごせる国を作ろうとし、その対価として、自らの魂を妖魔に捧げた。
The surrounding creature seems to sense his anguish, letting out low coos.
僕はもう二度と、あなたにそんな思いをさせたくない。
You do everything in your power to organize your turbulent thoughts, but you end up collapsing from exhaustion. Yunchen. When you return to your senses, you have already fallen into a warm embrace.
すまない。開墾があなたの記憶や精神を乱してしまったようだ。
Soul reunification spell. You slowly realize that the images in your head are in fact memories from your countless reincarnations. And multiple factors closely linked to the man tightly embracing you become clear. You are the Lord of Yunchen.
僕の本当の身分を知りたいのかい？国士でも仙人でも好きに呼んでくれていいよ。どちらも人が勝手につけた名だからね。そういえば一度も言ってこなかったけど、僕は身分とか称号の類があんまり好きではないんだ。だからあなたの口から他人行儀な呼び方が聞こえるたびに、どれだけ時間がかかってもちゃんと僕のことを思い出して名前で呼んでほしいと願ってきた。
You open your mouth wanting to respond to him, but you realize you are too exhausted to speak. There are some words you two never got the chance to express. You always miss your opportunity as your resolve wavered. Vyn pats your back gently, then picks you up in his arms.
大丈夫だよ。一眠りすればすぐに良くなるから。
Vyn's whispers are like a soft lullaby, slowly easing you into a dream. Yunchen. This dream is a memory concealed deep within your soul. You are a bird that has awakened to spiritual wisdom, traversing through a timeless eternity when this earth first formed. It's in a bird's nature to build nests. You go back and forth from the forest every day to find the best branches for your little home. After a few days, the tree transformed into a strikingly beautiful young man, much to your surprise. Having only just assumed this form, his icy countenance is nearly void of emotion. However, his eyes are full of wonder and confusion as he looks at you.
あなたはいつも忙しそうだね。休憩もせずにずっと。一体どうして？
You flap your wings and chirp, telling him about your dream to build a nest.
その、あなたの言う家っていうのは、そこまでして手に入れたいものなのかい？そこまで時間を使って作らなくても、向こうにある洞窟の方がよっぽど雨風をしのげそうだけど。
Trees do not have hearts. They may live long and can transform into humans by absorbing earthly spirit energy, but they are slower on the pickup than ordinary creatures. You can't help spending a long time talking, explaining everything to him.
自分で作る家は特別で、幸せを感じる。
He tilts his head, still somewhat confused.
あなたの話のすべてに共感するのは難しい。でも、万物には生きるための法則がある。一本の枝によってあなたが幸福を感じることができたなら、それは価値のあることだ。
Only now do you notice some unnatural curls in his long silky hair. It appears as if it has been cut off by something sharp. It appears that the branches you have been taking belong to him. Guilt immediately fills your heart, and you can't help worrying about this innocent young man in front of you.
あなたは僕を心配してくれているの？僕の霊力がこの姿を見せたということは、近いうちに最初の天候、雷の姿をした天からの試練が与えられるだろう。
All living creatures must face a heavenly tribulation before they ascend. It tests their understanding of the world and their awareness of the truth. Humans innately possesses the ability to control the 7 emotions and 6 desires. People with enough spirit power may ascend after one heavenly tribulation, while other creatures require more. Trees, flowers, and plants must pass 3 heavenly tribulations, making it nearly impossible for them to become immortal.
喜び、怒り、悲しみ、恐れ、愛、憎悪、そして欲。人間の七情と六欲は、樹木が理解するにはいささか複雑でね。僕は数百年一人で修行してきたけど、仙人になるまではこの島から離れられないから。ただひとところに佇み、静かに日の出と日没を眺める。それの繰り返しだった。
His slender fingers caress your wings, gently combing your feathers.
最後のその時まで、僕の枝で巣作りを続けるといいよ。もしかしたらこれも、天が僕に与えた新たな機会かもしれないからね。
His eyes are clear with no trace of tears, but you can't stop yourself from wiping the corners of his eyes.
あなたは、僕が情を理解できるように、これまでに見聞きしたことを教えようとしているのかい？おそらくだけど、それには長い時間がかかると思うよ。それに、もしかしたら永遠に理解できない可能性もある。そもそも、あなたにはあなたの使命があるんじゃないのかい？わずかな枝のために無理に恩を返そうとしなくてもいいよ。
You try to touch his cheek, feeling a little sad that your little wings can't offer him enough warmth.
なるほど。あなたは恩返しどうこうではなく、純粋に僕の表情が気になっていたんだね。
That fleeting smile pierces your heart like the sun's first light. It is the same beautiful scene you saw countless times when you refused to return to your nest. If you can help him understand the emotions of this world, perhaps he will have the same wish to build a nest as you do. Then would his smile that rivals even the most gorgeous landscape never fade? Thinking about it now, that small secret wish you have held for millennia probably formed as a seed back then. Chambers. Your consciousness awakens from your dreams and you find yourself in a familiar bedroom. Reality and memories intertwine. You take a deep breath, trying to make sense of everything. I used ancient magic and made it to Yunchen, but I ran into Vyn. Turns out he is a celestial who resides on Yunchen. Then he used a soul reunification spell to restore some of my memories from my past lives. Your life as a bird was extremely short. After just a few years, you were no longer able to fly through the sky and describe the beautiful scenery of this earth to Vyn. In the last moments of your life, you brought the first branch from your nest to Vyn, but he happens to be going through his first heavenly tribulation. You attempted to put out the fire for him, but you were powerless in the face of the flames. You were eventually swallowed up in the sea of fire. Only then did you finally realize where your heart truly belongs. But then, I wish I would be reincarnated as a human in my next life. I don't want to be a weak bird anymore. But Vin must have passed his first heavenly tribulation since he's here in One Piece now.
目が覚めたのかい？
As you suddenly snap back to reality, you realize Vin has been by your side this whole time.
この場所はあなたの神殿を真似て作ったものだけど、何か不便があったら言って。すぐに調整するから。
I'm still on Yunchen. The causal relationship between you and Vin began with endless reincarnations. However, clinging to the memories of the past will only trap you there. You try to calm your thoughts, going over the clues in your head. The storm clouds over the land of Yi led me here to Yunchen. I don't think those were an illusion created by Vin, but it also can't be a coincidence. Why are there so many storm clouds over Yunchen? Is the land of Yi really going to experience a calamity?
心配いらないよ。それに、あの雲は僕があなたを呼び寄せるための餌だったんだ。僕はもう、あなたが霊体になるところを見ていられない。あんな最後を迎えるくらいなら、あなたを雲来に閉じ込めて、属性との関係を断ってあげた方が、よっぽど良さそうだからね。
His joking tone makes it difficult for you to tell if he is sincere or not. Lure me here? If he really wanted to lure you here, why did he try to use his trademark rationality to talk you into staying before you left? Furthermore, you know he isn't someone who would act rashly for selfish reasons. No, you're lying. You have never once trivialized a single life. You wouldn't use something that could threaten others as bait.
何度転生しても、必ず私の心を揺さぶってくる。やはり、あなたはあなたなんだね。本当に驚くことに、転生するたびに雲来を訪れては、僕に成長するきっかけを与えてくれる。時々後悔しているよ。初めて会った時、あなたと軽々しく関係を持つべきじゃなかったかもしれないと。もしもあの時、会って話していなければ。
Vin's words are filled with conflicting emotions that you have never heard from him before. He lured you here, but he regrets bringing you to Yunchen. This scene is just like the relationship between you two. You want to get closer, but are kept apart by the inexplicable mist. The key to piercing through the mist is hidden within the memories of your reincarnations. My head hurts. I don't think I fully recovered all of my memories.
無理をする必要はないよ。僕は待つのは得意だから。
Vyn, you can't stop yourself from reaching out and caressing the corner of Vyn's eyes. He leans into your movement, resting his cheek in your palm.
あなたの言うことは正しいよ。餌をまいたというのは嘘だ。でも、あなたをここに呼び寄せたかったのは本当だから。まさか、あなたを駒のようにしか扱わないあの国に戻ろうというのかい？霊体のことは昔から秘密にされてきた。つまり、この事実を皇太后陛下に伝えたら最後、あなたは危険な立場に立たされることになる。きっと干ばつを回避した後も、あなたは利用され続けるだろうね。あなたは、今生きている人間界に、もう何の未練もないのかい？
Looking at Vyn's face, you can't bring yourself to object. Of course, there are people in the world you love. But you can't reject the home that raised you. I'm not going to choose to run away, Vyn.
そうだね。あなたは昔からそうだった。僕と違って、あなたの世界は青空で、小さな巣でも一つの国でも、そこを居心地のいい家にすることを諦めなかった。あなたは困難を前にしても、決して逃げ出したりしない。だからこそ。
Vyn remains silent before letting out a long sigh. He suddenly turns to the tables on you, taking your hand in his palm and pulling you into his arms with a firm yet gentle strength. Vyn,
あなたの行動に驚かされてばかりだから。僕も少し反撃しただけだよ。
the surprise Vyn is referring to is the hug you gave him before you came to Yunchen. But Vyn's counterattack lasts considerably longer. Rather than a counterattack, it's almost as if he is making up for lost time.
言ったでしょ。あなたが決めたことなら僕は邪魔しないって。それがもし僕のそばから去ることだったとしても、僕は。
Vyn lowers his gaze, concealing the hope that flashes through his eyes. He lets go of your hand and looks at you again as composed as ever. Ever since you met, everything Vyn had done has had a deeper meaning. Was the act of luring you here really all just for you? Yunchen. You continue living in Yunchen for some time. During this brief period, you live amongst the clouds, overlooking the entire world. You truly feel distance from the hustle and bustle down below. You and Vyn share meaningful conversations every day. You talk about the little things you couldn't discuss in the past when you were both busy handling bureaucratic affairs. He then takes you to see the beautiful scenery you once cherished. This must be the beautiful relationship between celestial couples that books often portray. But why do I feel so uneasy? You look at the tumultuous storm clouds outside Yunchen, but they show no signs of retreating. Fortunately, chaos is no longer spreading across the land of Yi. Vyn has never lied to you, and you trust that the calamity will disappear like he said. However, the storm clouds are like a sharp blade constantly hanging overhead. After several days of watching, you realize that the storm clouds are lingering over the giant tree in the middle of Yunchen. The divine tree piercing the sky is Vyn's true form, so you decide to go investigate. As if someone read your mind, a staircase made of clouds suddenly appears on the mysterious land of Yunchen. Every plant and tree on Yunchen is a representation of Vyn's will. He saw right through me, just as I thought, and he doesn't have any intention of standing in my way. Is he leaving the choice up to me? He hasn't changed a bit. Vyn has been like this ever since you first met him. With all of his profound knowledge, he has countless ways to entrap you, but he never forces you to do anything. You suddenly remember the image of him releasing a caged bird that day. Emperor Preceptor's house. Emperor Preceptor Vyn loves flowers, birds, and all manner of plants. That is no secret to anyone in the palace. During his free time, he enjoys looking after his beloved Aralia tree back in his manor. People would also take every opportunity to offer him rare birds in an attempt to earn his favor. This kingfisher is so beautiful. They must have worked really hard to catch it. Are you still planning on releasing it in the forest?
鳥が野山に帰らず、このような場所に閉じ込められていていいと思うかい？
You turn, looking at the large yard surrounding you. Vyn personally cares for every flower and tree here. The landscape is extremely welcoming. I don't think this looks like a cage. I think I might be able to live here for the rest of my life.
それはあなたが、ここがどういう場所かを知らないからだよ。今見ているこれらは全部、荒れ果てた土地を必死に取り繕っているだけだからね。
Vyn opens the bird cage. The kingfisher freezes in place. It seems almost hesitant to move. Vyn doesn't rush or guide the bird. Instead, he simply waits. Didn't you put all this effort into arranging this garden to give it a good home? A delicate kingfisher like that might be caught again if it's set free. It could even die from the elements. Are you sure you don't want it to stay? Vyn smiles softly, neither nodding in agreement nor shaking his head in denial.
残るか残らないかは、この子が決めることだよ。空はこんなにも広いし、遠くまで飛んでいくのは鳥の本能だ。それに従うことで後悔することはないんじゃないかな。何より、ここよりいい住まいを見つける可能性だってある。だから僕は、
The kingfisher finally works up the courage to step out of the cage, fluttering its wings. Vyn casts a protective spell on it. He then slowly raises his hand to allow the bird to take off. He doesn't finish his sentence. Instead, he leads you to help him prune his beloved Aralia tree. Aralia tree represents watching over happiness. Yunchen. As you arrive in the center of Yunchen, you look up at the towering tree that stretches up in the sky. Although it looks somewhat different now, it is still familiar. It is the same Aralia tree whose behavior you have endlessly studied to better understand Vyn. You are happy amidst a faint ringing sound, resonating with the distant call of the divine tree. This happiness is probably made from a branch of this divine tree. Vyn gave this happy to the first priestess. Centuries later, I am the only one who inherited the title. Maybe the first priestess has a close connection to me, or maybe she was one of my past lives. I recovered my memories last time thanks to Vyn's spirit power. If I could find even stronger spirit power. If you absorb the divine tree's spirit power, you could regain the memories of your past lives. It feels as if an invisible hand is pushing you to open this box full of memories, just like opening the door of a bird cage. After accepting the memories of your first life, you realize how difficult it is to shoulder everything the past. It felt as if you were reliving the pain of the flames scorching your body. The sorrow of leaving your wish unfulfilled pervaded your mind repeatedly like crashing waves. I remember learning about how the first princess was devoured by demons and died to protect the land of Yi. Perhaps staying here in Yunchen, not doing or thinking about anything, is the happiest life you could ask for. But I've already put on a brave face in front of Vyn. I'm not running away. I won't. You reach out and place your palm on the trunk of the divine tree. As spirit power begins to surge into you, your hazy memories grow clearer. Yunchen. You are no longer a bird in this life. Rather, you are a healer with spirit power. The village where you live was attacked by demons, and a plague is spreading across the land. After trying everything to cure it, you still can't find an antidote. You have no choice but to set off for Yunchen in search of the legendary elixir. Your effort pays off. After a long journey, you step into paradise to see him cultivating.
その薬草を積んだら、すぐにここを去った方がいい。
Thank you, Celestial. I know you have everything you could ever want, but I still want to give you something in return.
ただの薬草だから、お礼なんていいよ。
He seems to suddenly remember something, looking up with a gentle smile.
もしどうしてもお礼がしたいというのなら、たまにここへ来て、人間界の話を聞かせてくれるかい？
By experiences, do you mean exciting tales or folklore?
そうだね。なら、どんなに些細なことでもいいから、あなたの心に響いたことを話してほしいかな。
I didn't think the Celestial would enjoy listening to stories. Is he bored living here alone on Yunchen? Later on, you cure the plague with the elixir and head to Yunchen to talk to Vyn like you promised. You gradually come to understand that these stories hold importance to him. He must understand human emotions to survive his heavenly tribulation. Since he is a tree, he can't leave the land where he was born before passing his second heavenly tribulation. You travel thousands of miles across the world in search of interesting stories. However, your motivation is no longer simply to repay a favor. Happiness, anger, sadness. You already have these three emotions. There are still four emotions left: fear, love, hate, and desire. Can you truly understand them through stories alone? I can't imagine the all-powerful Celestial being fearful of anything, or even succumbing to fear, to desire. When love is mentioned, you awkwardly avert your gaze, concealing your thoughts.
感情の多くは多面的だからね。そうでなければ、愛は憎しみを生まないし、引きこもごもという言葉も生まれなかった。きっと時期が来れば、たった一つの出来事で、全てを悟ることができるはずだよ。
Opportunity, huh? I wonder if everything I've done is an opportunity for him. You can only hope that your small contribution helps him.
でも、あなたはなかなか愛情についての話はしてくれないね。
That's because the stories are still too illusory for the people of the mortal realm. Even though the plague has stopped spreading, demons are still running rampant. Most of the stories that are widely shared are typically tales of heroes or tragedies that really happened.
どうしてそんな顔で僕を見るんだい？苦難を経験してきたのはあなたの方なのに。
It's precisely because I've experienced it that I've gradually gotten used to it. And human life is short. No matter how much suffering we endure, it will eventually come to an end. Even though Vyn never mentions the time he spends cultivating, remaining solitary for thousands of years in the same world would make anyone lonely. All of this was to understand the seven emotions and six desires, to break through nature's constraints and transform into a real person. If you pass the second heavenly tribulation and leave this paradise, you will find a completely devastated world. I think you will be incredibly disappointed by that.
あなたの話を聞いていたから、人間が決して美しいばかりの存在でないことは知っているよ。ボロボロでも、罪深くても構わない。何もかも受け入れる準備はできているから。少なくとも、あなたが紡いでくれた風景だけは、この目で見ておきたいからね。
Vyn, you don't know when it started, but the seed of desire in your heart has begun to sprout. With all the ups and downs in this world, you once doubted the point of striving to survive. To him, the few decades in the lifespan of a mortal goes by in the blink of an eye. Even though you possess spirit power, you spend too much time trying to cure the plague. You have already lost your chance of becoming a celestial. Since you are destined to part ways, you hope that the memory of your connection never fades. In 3 months, the army will wipe out the demon's lair. We will definitely win the final battle. When there is peace, the world will finally prosper. Do you still remember those folk tales I told you? The everlasting lanterns represent people's lovesick yearning. It is an unforgettable sight. If you can live Yunchen in the future, you'll definitely see everlasting lanterns burning throughout the world.
うん。もしそれを見ることができたら、僕はきっと、あなたのことを思い出すだろうね。
You understand that Vin's current understanding of affection isn't only limited to love, but you can't help the stir in your heart. If he passes his second heavenly tribulation, will his thoughts change? If reincarnation is real, then I hope I can meet you again, Vyn. Although you may have already forgotten everything by then, you have faith you two will meet again and fall in love with him once more. Vyn thinks for a moment before pulling a unique wooden hairpin out of his sleeve and putting it in your hair. This sudden intimate act leaves you speechless.
このほうきは、僕の枝で作ったもので、いつかきっと、あなたを危険から守ってくれるはずだ。
Thank you. Why a hairpin though? The form a magic weapon takes mostly depends on the creature's preference. It doesn't affect its effectiveness in any
昨日、
way.
僕に話してくれたよね。人は、別れの際に、かんざしを送る風習があるって。
I see. Because you were too shy to describe romantic relationships in front of Vyn, you gloss over the few love stories you told him.
あなたがこれを見たときに、少しでもここでのことを思い出してくれたら嬉しいね。
You didn't tell Vyn that a hairpin represented love between two people, so you assume this gift has no other deeper meaning. Perhaps you will never see each other again after saying goodbye. You discreetly hold the hairpin to your heart. Even without this memory, you will never forget this scene or the person in front of you for the rest of your life. Yunchen. When your mind is pulled back from the memories of your past life, you have broken out in a cold sweat that has soaked through your clothes. Your final memory was of demons crashing into the trees. With your last bit of spirit power, you did everything you could to protect the common people. The demons ripped apart your flesh and spirit. Your soul became a sustenance for them, meaning you should never been able to reincarnate again. But the moment you fell into the complete darkness, you saw the warm light of the hairpin and the silhouette of Vyn's back. He collected the last vestiges of your soul, used his spirit power to carefully preserve your weak life force, and obliterate the demons with a snap of his fingers. A warm family spirit power flows into you from the divine tree, gradually soothing the panic and fear in your heart. It seems that something in your body is closely connected with this divine tree. You can sense its breathing as well as the slight fluctuations in its mood. Sure enough, we meet again, Vyn. Since you were able to leave Yunchen, it must mean you passed your second heavenly tribulation. Divine trees must go through 3 heavenly tribulations to gain immortality. Vyn already understands 6 of the 7 emotions, and the final tribulation pertains to desire. Centuries have passed, and knowing Vyn, you are afraid that he has long understood desire. That is precisely why he has been endlessly entangled with you. But the emotion he tried so hard to resist was revealed on that day you bid him farewell. I finally understand. The storm clouds aren't a calamity for the land of Yi. They are your final heavenly tribulation. A heavenly tribulation pertaining to desire. You turn to see Vyn standing behind you. A calm smile remains on his face. He looks at the approaching storm clouds with a faint sense of ridicule. Everything you've done is part of the scheme to overcome this heavenly tribulation, thousands of years in the making. The simplest way for him to pass this heavenly tribulation is to kill you, choosing to walk a merciless path. You and Vyn have been living together carefree and unrestrained on Yunchen for the past few days. However, you have begun to move in different directions. But if you both choose to follow your feelings, the power of the heavenly tribulation will increase tenfold, and ascending will be even more difficult. He may even be consumed by his desire, transforming into a demon. Vyn sees through you, knowing that you've already deduced everything. He looks upward, pointing to the boundless sky.
その昔、あなたは僕に人間界の話をしてくれたよね。だから、今度は僕が雲来の話をしてあげるよ。
Yunchen. To gain immortality is to go against nature. If you want to gain power that surpasses the heavens, then the heavens will certainly thrust tribulations upon you. Only by truly understanding human emotions can one ascend and gain true immortality. Humans innately struggle to absorb spirit energy, but they suffer from birth, experiencing the pain that comes with being born, growing old, illness, and death. Trees are nourished by the earth day after day, but seeing as they cannot leave the soil, it is difficult for them to grasp the multitude of the world.
潮が満ち引きを繰り返すように、あらゆる生命は断りに従って生きているんだ。
A cool young man sits atop the branches, looking at the unattainable scenery in the distance. He sees a large landscape full of trees similar to him, a verdant pine tree with branches that almost reach the sky.
彼は生き急いでいるようだね。何も悟ってはいないのに、霊力ばかりを蓄え、天に対抗しようとしている。残念だけど、もう長くは生きられないかな。
Just as Vyn said, the pine tree in the distance is instantly reduced to ash by dense lightning. Trees are blessed by the earth. In just a century, they can accumulate enough spirit power to ascend. However, even if the tree rings increase, trees can't simply grow human hearts out of thin air. If you are unable to understand the 7 emotions and 6 desires, possessing massive amounts of spirit power will only serve to speed up your demise.
天はこんなにも無情なのに、それでも情とは何かを万物に分からせようとしてくる。本当に面白いよね。ただ、天はそれでも公正だ。情を持つ人間には苦難を与え、持たない者には寿命を与え、万物に平等に悟りの機会を与えようとしている。 僕が悟りを開くことになったきっかけも、この長い寿命の中にあるのかもしれないね。
There is no happiness or sadness in Vin's expression. He isn't complaining about how fate is unfair, nor he is bemoaning the adversity others face. He simply describes everything before him calmly, rationally, analyzing the possibility of resolving the situation.
だから、僕たちがしなければならないことは、とにかく待つことだ。
Waiting is merely an idle waste of time. Vyn has been precisely controlling the speed of his growth to make sure the heavenly tribulation would not be triggered before his opportunity arrived. But even a stone will grow weathered over a long period of time. Even though he has the willpower and conviction to contend with the heavens, he also feels fatigue. Stating that busy little bird was originally just a diversion, a way to soothe his exhaustion. However, he didn't expect her to turn into his opportunity.
あなたは、僕が情を理解できるように、これまでに見聞きしたことを教えようとしているのかい？おそらくだけど、それには長い時間がかかると思うよ。それに、もしかしたら、永遠に理解できない可能性もある。そもそも、あなたにはあなたの使命があるんじゃないのかい？わずかな枝のために無理に恩を返そうとしなくてもいいよ。
The bird tries to caress Vin's cheek, giving him warmth with its thin wings.
なるほど。あなたは恩返しどうこうではなく、純粋に僕の表情が気になっていたんだね。
The bird was obsessed with seeing a smile on his face. Even though Vyn didn't completely understand, he still patiently listened to her talk about everything she encountered on her travels. The world through the eyes of a bird is simple yet vast, ordinary yet so alive. If his heavenly tribulation had not arrived, she wouldn't have sacrificed herself to put out the fire, and she wouldn't have turned to ash before her wish to build a nest was fulfilled. But what was born from the ashes was a heart belonging to a tree.
僕がようやく得た悟りは、他の命が消えたことで生まれたものなんだ。これが常だとしたら、あまりにひどい話だ。
Perhaps he shouldn't have been so obsessed with that opportunity. Yunchen. Centuries have gone by since he passed his first heavenly tribulation. The young man leans against the enormous tree, relaxing with a cup of tea. He is now able to enjoy these leisurely moments that come with his long life. Occasionally, when a heavenly tribulation arrives, he offers a toast and pays his respect to his unknown compatriots. After understanding the three emotions of happiness, anger, and sadness, Vyn no longer worries about his heavenly tribulations. He simply waits for the disaster that will inevitably arrive. However, rather than encountering a deadly disaster, he is greeted by his opportunity once more.
その薬草を摘んだら、すぐにここを去った方がいい。
She says she wants to do everything in her power to repay him.
ただの薬草だから、お礼なんていいよ。
The bird gradually overlaps with the person in front of him. They have the same soul, a soul that somehow found its way back to him.
このまま別れるべきなのか、それとも引き止めるべきなのか。
When the girl reaches up, Vyn sees the scars under her sleeves. They are scratches from demons so deep that it was nearly cleaved to the bone. The world is falling into disaster. A few magic herbs won't be able to help her get through this.
薬草を口実にすれば、多少は彼女を運来に引き止めることができるかもしれない。
A smile appears on Vyn's lips.
もしどうしてもお礼がしたいというのなら、たまにここへ来て人間界の話を聞かせてくれるかい？
After that, just like the bird, she tirelessly shares everything she encounters with him. Human language is much more complex than that of birds. The stories of human relationships are also much more eventful than the scenery observed by a bird. However, something strange begins to happen. Vyn did not find himself fixated on the stories, but rather,
彼女は他の人間にもこうやって話しているのだろうか。それから今みたいな笑顔をいつも浮かべているのだろうか。
it seems that this sudden bizarre emotion has long been predestined, but Vyn does not delve into it. Love between a mortal and an immortal can never be as perfect as in storybooks. She also has her own wish to fulfill in this life. He has already made up his mind not to get attached, even if it will only lead to him turning to ash after another heavenly tribulation. And the ending is just as Vyn had predicted. She plans to return to her homeland, sticking to her ideals.
昨日僕に話してくれたよね。人は別れの際にかんざしを送る風習があるって。
Her cheeks briefly flushed before her face turned solemn. In reality, how could we not recognize her panic when she quickly changed the story, as well as her embarrassment whenever she spoke about romantic relationship? He originally wanted to let go, quietly watching this bird fly into the distance. In fact, the occasional everlasting lantern floats up above Yunchen from the mortal world. When those everlasting lanterns are lit, he thinks of her. Would she do the same for him?
あなたがこれを見たときに少しでもここでのことを思い出してくれたら嬉しいね。
Magical weapons take form based on the will of the creature. When he snaps back to his senses, the dagger he had originally planned to make has already morphed into a hairpin. Dark clouds loom in the distance. There are already signs of a thunderous heavenly tribulation.
最初の天候は僕が呆然としている間に訪れた。だから二度目は僕の心が動いた時に訪れるはずだ。これは定められたことなのか、それとも。
It is a decision that could cost him his life, but Vyn doesn't hesitate to imbue the hairpin with half a lifetime's worth of cultivation. Land of Ye. Although he has never underestimated the relentless mockery the heavens directed at destiny, the cruelty of the human world he senses through the hairpin is far beyond what he imagined. Fierce demons swept across the land like a murder of crows, destroying all life in their path. The girl uses the hairpin's power to protect others, but she is ripped to shreds as she is devoured by demons. Only a few wisps of her soul remain, ready to drift away.
なるほどね。自我が芽生えた瞬間から天候は常に僕のそばに控えるようになったのか。段階的な計画を立てて強制的に民衆の心を奪う、ある種の呪いのようだ。
He looks down at the raging demons with icy eyes.
汚れから生まれた業は本来感情や理性とは関係のない運命だ。本能のままにただ破壊し飲み込む。それは僕に純粋な嫌悪を、悪を抱かせた。
With a wave of Vyn's hand, his pure spirit power causes the heavenly tribulation and the demons to vanish. Understanding fear, hate, and love during his second heavenly tribulation takes place in a sudden moment of enlightenment. His expression reveals no happiness or relief after this breakthrough. He merely caresses the last wisps of her soul in his hand ever so carefully. That final feeling can only linger in his heart, released into a sigh.
人は7つの情と6つの欲を持って生まれてくる。つまり 生を受けた瞬間から苦しむことが決められているんだ。しかもその苦しみは魂と共に輪廻転生を繰り返すこともある。天が描いた運命の中であなたは間違いなく悟りのきっかけになると思ったよ。でもあなたにとっての僕は同じように悟りをもたらす存在なのか、あるいは
Am I your suffering, found in your endless reincarnations? Imperial Preceptor's House. After passing the second heavenly tribulation, Vyn can finally leave Yunchen, coming and going in the mortal realm as he pleases. He sees the vast skies and seas she passionately loved, the diversity of the world she described, and the everlasting lantern she once lit in the bustling capital city. The capital city constructed after she left was known as the Land of Yi, a pleasant and fitting name. He walks between mountains and rivers, lakes and sea, quelling disaster and nourishing the land as if he is meticulously caring for a garden. With that, he unwittingly earns the title of Imperial Preceptor. Until that day.
申し上げます。こたびの供養の儀において、雲来の仙人様から授かったかんざしが一人の少女に反応を示しました。人々は彼女が初代司祭の生まれ変わりだと口にし、皇太后陛下も彼女を司祭に任命なさったようです。
Vyn is flipping through the ancient text in his hands, seemingly uninterested in what the servant said.
国師様、こたびの南巡は随分と時間がかかっておりますが、おそらく皇太后陛下は国師様が皇国を離れる際、
すだれの後ろから国事に関わると、
いえ、そこまでのことは私には。
Vyn flicks his sleeve aside, helping the servant who is about to go back up.
皇帝陛下はまだ幼い。皇太后陛下が国事を気にされるのは当然のことかと。ましてや、あのお方は先帝を補佐してこられた方です。
ですが、皇太后陛下は司祭を養女として育て、朝廷内からの評判を高めようとしています。
The servant doesn't dare voice the Empress Dowager's intention to reduce Vyn's influence. She simply lowers her head, waiting for Vyn's decision. As time goes by, the rules of the mortal realm and the intrigues of the human heart grow even more elusive. He doesn't want to be a player in this complex game of chess, despite already being aware of every move the pieces will take.
彼女はまたしてもこの荒廃した世界に戻ってきたんだね。彼らを見て失望するか、あるいは目的のためにもう一度全てをかけるのか。
Vyn smiles gently as he closes the book, already aware of what he must do.
司祭は仙人と心を通わせることのできる希少で地位の高いものだ。凡人の身分に縛られてはならない。どうやら皇太后陛下にお会いすべき時が来たようだね。
If the heavens have been playing out a plan known as destiny for him since the beginning, this time he will take the opportunity into his own hands. Yunchen. After listening to Vyn's story, you gently touch a branch of the divine tree. As his spirit power slowly flows into you, your memories and his emotions gradually merge into one. As you look at the increasingly terrifying storm clouds in the sky, you seemingly realize something. Vyn, you aren't just pouring your spirit power into me to restore my memories, are you?
僕の目的は単純だよ。 運命に翻弄されたくない。それだけだ。1000年間、僕は仙人になるためだけに修行をしてきた。それには天からの助力もあり、あなたとの出会いを繰り返すうちに、情とは何かを教わった。その代償として、あなたの肉体は火に飲まれ、魂も灰と化した。最後の天候は欲を理解すること。人の最も暗く、深い部分だ。皇太后陛下があなたを使って僕を操ろうとした時から、そうなることは分かっていたよ。あの雷雲が証明している通り、僕はやっぱり、あなたに対する欲を抑えることはできなかったんだ。
Vyn,
あなたと僕の縁は、これで3度目になる。とっくに気づいていたんだろうね。僕の心に根付いた欲望に。残された結末は2つ。欲望への執念を完全に打ち消すか、それに失敗して妖魔に落ちるか。神は皇太后陛下に似ているね。それか、神という存在こそが人間性の最たる権下なのかも。地位のある者からすれば、あなたの犠牲は取るに足らないもので、仙人を生み出すことが何より価値のあることだと、そう思っているのかもしれない。行く末が定められている局面において、あなたはどんな結末を迎えるのかな。もう一度、その身を犠牲にする。あるいは、自分の翼を失ってでも、僕のものになる。
Hearing Vyn see this, you can't help but clench your fist. However, you soon relax your grip. It isn't due to a feeling of powerlessness and your own insignificance. It's the fact that Vyn has to make such a cruel choice that pains you. If you had not come to Yunchen, he would have been alone here, facing off against the heavens and putting an end to everything. As long as you make a choice for yourself, I'll accept it no matter what the outcome, Vyn.
なら、どちらも選ばないと言ったら。悪いけど、僕はもうあんな光景を見たくないんだ。数百年の間、幾人もの高尚な人が私欲のために鬼となってきた。僕がそうならないためには、欲を理解した上で完全に立ち、あなたを犠牲にするしかない。そんな馬鹿げた話はないよ。
A frightening thought suddenly pops into your mind, and you can't help but voice it. You try to move closer to Vyn, but he draws a line in the ground that you cannot cross. Yunchen. Before you can break through your confinements, the entire island of Yunchen begins to shake violently. The sky suddenly turns dark and the winds roar like a fierce beast. Thunder and lightning fill the sky. The heavenly tribulation has arrived. However, you are completely protected by the branches of the divine tree as Vyn's spirit power begins surging into your body even more intensely.
こんな残酷な選択にあなたが付き合う必要はないよ。たとえ運命が定められていようと、僕が必ずそれを覆してみせる。そして今度こそ、僕があなたのきっかけになるんだ。人は弱く、天地より霊力を得ることができない。その上、生まれつき7つの情と6つの欲を持っている。これほどまでに苦しんできた魂が、もし十分な霊力を手に入れたとしたら、あなたは、たった一度の天候突破で、天にも昇る仙人になれるはずだ。
Vyn, stop. Even if I take all of your spirit power, I won't be able to handle it. I won't be able to pass the heavenly tribulation. You are lying. During your years in the palace, Vyn has taught you step by step how to use protective spells. Years ago, centuries ago even, he gave you a hairpin that contained half a lifetime's worth of cultivation. Absolutely everything has been in preparation for this moment. Reversing this destined game of chess will grant you immortality.
心配いらないよ。あなたなら必ず天候を突破できるから。これでようやく何に縛られることなく行きたい場所へ自由に飛んでいけるんだ。
If you transfer all of your spirit power to me, what will happen to you? Vyn doesn't answer your question. The leaves of the divine tree begin to wither. I won't. I'll never use this spirit power. So, just stop.
本当にあなたは時々とても頑固になるね。だけど許してほしい。これだけは譲れないんだ。天の目がある中で行動を起こすのは容易ではないけど、十分に策を練れば機械くらいなら作ることができる。天を欺くたった一度の機会をね。
Conceal the truth? You mean, in your second life, your soul nearly vanished. We recrafted it by merging his own soul and spirit power with the remnants. In other words, both of your energies are incredibly close now, practically one with each other.
もしも僕たちが離れ離れになれば、天に見破られてしまうかもしれない。けど、僕もあなたも、今は雲来にいる。だから、気づかれることはないはずだ。それと、この天候を受けているのは誰なんだろうね。僕、それともあなた。
His gentle smile is so close, but you are unable to break through the invisible barrier. You aren't even able to struggle as the frightening clouds begin to surround you. With a sudden boom of the thunder, a lightning bolt carves a black chasm through the fertile land in an instant.
久しぶりとでも言うべきかな。天よ。
This is the heavenly tribulation. Has Vyn already survived such catastrophic disasters twice already? Another bolt of lightning strikes in your direction. The divine tree extends its branches to cover you, and the lightning nearly penetrates them. Vyn! He continues transferring his spirit power to you without hesitation, using his body to block the intense lightning strikes. You watch as the divine tree withers, its spark rapidly peeling off. Even so, you can't move closer to Vyn. But being this close allows you to clearly see everything in the past, dispelling any lingering confusion. I finally understand why you refuse to get close to me. It was a way to protect you, to give you a choice. It was also part of his plan to endure the heavenly tribulation alone. But even if you can predict what the heavens will do, you can't predict what you will do. You pulled the hairpin out of your hair. Seeing as it was made from Vyn's body, it is the best way for you two to connect with one another. You return Vyn's spirit power through the hairpin. The battered divine tree instantly begins to sprout new branches. No, your plans hardly ever have oversight like this, so this is the path. This is the choice you specifically left for me. This time, it isn't an inevitable ending full of suffering that fate decided for you. It is a judgment you made for yourself. You said you would let me fly far away and fulfill my wish, but my wish has always been about you. If I lost you, then what's the point of building that nest, that home? Your hairpin suddenly begins to glow with a strong light, transforming into a letter. Written on it are the words, like lovebirds in the woods. Magical weapons transform with their creator's will, and Vyn had already made preparations back then. If you decide to remain in Yunchen, he will become the forest where you, a tired bird, will find respite. But at the time, the responsibility you bore did not allow you to make that choice. This is a unifying letter written in blood. Once you leave your mark on one another, you will live and die together.
よく言ってくれたね。これでようやく僕も欲を悟ることができたみたいだ。
What's wrong with that? We're both people with the same 7 emotions and 6 desires. If I press my handprint to the paper, Vyn and I will be connected forever. We will live and die together. Regardless of this desire, your mutual feelings will lead you both to an ending. Your choice will always be determine. You reach out with your right hand. Your spirit power drips onto the page along with your blood, merging with the veins. In an instant, the invisible barrier between you two vanishes. Amidst lightning as bright as fireworks, you rush to Vyn and hug him tightly. From now on, I'll never let you put distance between us, Vyn. Hearing this, he embraces you tightly in a response. Both of your spirit powers merge and transform into a shield to protect you two. Currently, you can no longer hear the booming thunder. You don't find the calamity in front of you scary either. The vow he whispers in your ear is clearer than any other sound, putting you at ease. He covers your eyes, keeping you safe from the disaster within his embrace.
いつか灰になる時までずっとあなたとこうしていたい。
You bury your head in his chest, entrusting everything to Vyn. After reincarnation spanning millennia, your unspoken bond has become as solid as a stone, unyielding and unchanged. You are unaware of how much time passes before the heavenly tribulation finally ceases and everything falls silent. Vyn loosens his protective embrace and gently rubs your back, informing you that the heavenly tribulation has passed. Outside the now dark and barren land of Yunchen, you can faintly make out a colorful, dazzling aurora. Land of Yi. Years later, on a street in the land of Yi.
テントはいらんかね。意中の相手に送ると縁がずーっと続くよ。この国は噂通りとても賑やかで綺麗な国だね。そりゃそうさ。広国は2人の仙人様に守られた特別な国なんだから。それに年若い皇帝陛下も国主様に導かれて頑張って国を治めているからね。国土こそ広くはないが、ここは誰もが羨む桃源郷のような場所なのさ。
2人の仙人様。それじゃあ国司様と司祭様が昇仙したって噂は本当だったのか。
まあ私も見たことはないが、お二人は今も雲来で一緒に暮らしてるって話だよ。よかったら近くに祭壇もあるから天道をお供えして祈ってきたらどうだい？天道祭は広国の縁結びの日だからね。あんたも良縁に恵まれるかもしれないよ。
Just then, a boat covered in red silk slowly floats by on the river, immediately drawing their attention. A pair of lovers sit on the bow of the boat. Although their faces can't be seen from a distance, they exude extraordinary elegance. When the boat arrives at the center of the lake, thousands of everlasting lanterns appear in the night sky. The lanterns flicker above the prosperous capital city that never sleeps, as brightly as stars in the sky. But you and Vyn have no intention of admiring the brilliant night sky. You are simply intoxicated by each other's
同
eyes.
棲するのは100年の徳。枕を共にするのは1000年の縁。その言葉通り、長い時間をかけて、ようやく同じ船に乗ることができたね。時が運んだのは、ただ待つことと、幾世にもわたる苦難だったけどね。
The boat rises and falls with the flowing river. It is somewhat bumpy, but it only brings you two closer together.
苦難とは、運命が与える不確定要素だ。もし天が非道な存在だったとしたら、僕がこの世界で感情を宿すことはなかったと思う。天道と同様に、婚礼の祝い酒も天に捧げるべきなのかもね。
That day, you and Vyn survived the heavenly tribulation together, embracing one another as you welcomed the radiant clouds. Your souls merge, and from then on, you have become one. You are now all-powerful, carefree celestials who bless the land of Yi. The lovers are really ruthless. I'm afraid they'll give us another heavenly tribulation as a gift. Vyn smiles gently. He clearly isn't worried about any heavenly tribulations, keeping his gaze firmly fixed on you. He gently strokes your hair, winding it through his fingertips. He then intertwines it with his hair, patiently studying and playing with it. Vyn helped you do your complex hairstyle today, and it almost fell out of place several times.
さっきは気づかなかったけど、やっぱり、ここにもう一本かんざしを刺してあげるべきだったかな。
After becoming celestials, no more hardships in this world can harm you. In fact, Vyn seems to take delight in asking for trouble. You push your hairpin into your hair, securing it and laughing softly at Vyn's rare moment of carelessness. You could have just used a transformation spell, or you spent a long time poring over books.
あなたに関することだから、いろいろとゆっくり学んでいきたいんだ。それに、雲来での暮らしも不便ではないけど、たまにはこうして普通の暮らしを楽しみたいからね。
Alright, I'll experience everything that you have yet to together with you. No matter what lies ahead, whether it be stormy seas or calm waters, I'll be in the same boat as you. These disasters had created your shared destiny, granting you both fearless hearts. You will traverse countless landscapes hand in hand, admiring the beautiful scenery together. You will travel the world, appreciating all it has to offer. Time flows like water, but love alone remains unchanged.
術が成功した。ということは、今は異界にいるんだね。無事について安心したよ。はあ、今回の旅は修行のためだから、一緒に行きたかったけど、僕は魂を守ってないと。もし体に何かあったら、魂を通じて、雲来で回復できるからね。今のところ、異界の様子はどう？一応、修行のためではあるけれど、旅でもあるから。うん。あなたが見た景色や感じた香りは、どれだけ離れてても共有される。縁を結んだあの日、僕たちの魂は一つにつながったから。それが今回、こんなに離れてしまって、心配でね。寝れてるかとか、食べ物には慣れたかとか、遠く離れるほど、些細なことが気になってしまうんだ。笑ってしまうくらい、仙人になった今でも、 ひどく悩んでいるよ。でも、あなたに関することなら、まるで苦じゃないけどね。うん、そうだね。僕がそばにいなくても、あなたは大丈夫だ。はあというより、大丈夫でいてほしい。長く生きているほど、この世に全知全能が存在しないと思い知らされる。権能は力から生まれるし、異界の障壁を壊すのにも時間もかかる。もちろん、あなたが疲れて帰ってきたら、この雲来を快晴にして歓迎するよ。